Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm glad to have with me once again Amir Adnani. Amir is the chairman of Brazil Resources, and that's a company that trades in Canada under the symbol BRI. You can buy it down here in the United States, as I have, under the symbol BRIZF. 102.6 million shares outstanding, been trading in the range of about $1.60 to $2 US, and it gives it a pretty good, solid market cap. But this is a company that has a lot of things going on for it, and I think, in my view, it has a great deal of upside potential, which is why it is a recommendation in my newsletter as well. Welcome, Amir. Thanks for joining me again.
Hey, it's great to be back, Jay, especially on the back of some recent news that we've had.
Oh, recent news. You got recent news at a time when this gold mining sector is really coming to life, and it is a most exciting time. It's really a fun time again to be in this business. But, you've done a fantastic job, Amir, of picking up lots of ounces of gold in the ground over the last 5, 6, 7 years. You seem to have a knack for being able to pick them up at very opportune times, at very opportune prices for your shareholders. And you've grown your resource, your total global resource, into something around 10 million ounces of gold, and that was before, just this last week, you made another announcement of another acquisition in British Columbia. If I'm pronouncing it right, it's a Treasury gold copper project, and you purchased that from Nova Copper. What can you tell us about this latest acquisition?
Well, Jay, it's a very important acquisition for us, and it comes at a very critical time because, like you said, we've spent the last 6 years really taking advantage of the downturn that we experienced in the resource sector until the beginning of this year to make very accretive acquisitions and get to the point of having the total 10 million ounces of gold resource in the ground in all categories that you touched on. And the key was really to be able to demonstrate to the market and to our investors that we have the capability in identifying and still executing on accretive transactions for BRI. Now, what we've announced at this point is that we've entered into a definitive agreement with Nova Copper, a company who's focused on a copper project in Alaska. Last year, Nova Copper had merged or had acquired a company called Sunward Resources, and the property that we're buying from Nova Copper, Treasury, was really the flagship project and focus for Sunward prior to its corporate transaction with Nova Copper. And so really, in terms of this being a project that checks all the boxes for us, think about what we've been looking for as BRI in these years in acquiring projects. We've always been looking for projects that are in stable and basically workable mining jurisdictions, good mining districts, a lot of activity with other companies around us, historic information, historic drilling, right? The thesis has been that we don't want to go and take on new exploration risk when you can buy previous drilling and ounces already delineated for cents on the dollar. Well, at this point, it's still early days in this acquisition. We'll have more developments and news to come. But I can say that this Treasury project is in central Colombia. It's in one of the best addresses in Colombia. Some of the other companies in this area include names like AngloGold Ashanti, B2 Gold, Continental Gold. There are companies that have gone into production in this region, and it really is the right address. And Jay, more importantly, the amount of work that has been done on the Treasury project, over 140,000 meters of drilling alone. So just to go drill that today. Just if you and I decide tomorrow to go and drill 140,000 meters,
a lot of
anywhere, money. We're talking about 60 to 70 million dollars of drilling, and that's assuming we had drill targets and a property and everything ready to go, and we pick it up for 5 million shares, less than 5% dilution, about $10 million of value, and this could go down as one of the most important acquisitions BRI has made in its 6-year history. And we're very excited about it. And I'll have more to report and talk about on this in the coming weeks.
Yeah, well, obviously, I guess you'll be going through a period of due diligence, or is that past you already, and it's just a matter of satisfying the lawyer's requirements for closing, or where do you stand on the transaction?
No, we've done all the due diligence. In fact, we've had our eyes on this asset for over a year now. We kind of followed it, saw what happened with the with the transaction between Nova Copper and Sunward, kept in touch with the Nova Copper guys. Frankly, there was interest from other parties in this project. There were a couple of other companies bidding on it as well. So we've done all of our due diligence. We really wanted it. We made the offer, and what we've announced is we've entered into a definitive agreement. So we've signed the deal up, and that's why we announced it. There's some customary formal procedures we need to complete to get to basically a final closing, which is probably about 10 days to maybe 14 days out. And then after that, we'll be hiring independent consulting firms, engineering companies to review this very expensive drilling database. There was historic engineering work done, metallurgy work done. So all of that will be reviewed and analyzed, and we'll be coming up with our own resource reports and 43-101 numbers and information in the coming weeks and months. Very similar to the situation with Whistler. When you think about when we acquired the Whistler project last summer of 2015, it took us a period to really be able to analyze the historic drilling that was there. And subsequently, we came up with 3 separate 43-101 reports, right? And we were able to really build our gold resource inventory with that acquisition. And that acquisition was only 70,000 meters of drilling. Here you have 140,000 meters of drilling. So double the amount of drilling. And something that, again, will be keeping us busy. But, again, it's all about sort of what you pay for these assets here in terms of how you create value, in my opinion. And here, not only are we paying for it in all stock, so we preserve all of our cash, but it's a great vote of confidence that Nova Copper has taken our stock, that they see greater upside value, and they see that this gold project will be combined with our other projects in our portfolio, our understanding of being able to advance gold projects and our presence in South America. These are all positive attributes, and the fact that Nova Copper is also taking all stock in consideration, I think, speaks volumes about the upside that they see, how they've aligned themselves with our equity, and we'll be busy on this project for weeks and months to come.
Well, obviously, I mean, they're obviously well aware of the other projects that you have, with some 10 million ounces of gold in the ground before you even made this acquisition. But Amir, one of the things that's really impressive about this project that you're picking up is the fact that the company that owned it, as you mentioned, this was their flagship property, Sunward Investments. Well, they had something like a $320 million market cap, and there was some very significant investors, I mean, household name, high quality investors that were involved with that. What did you have to pay for this thing? What did you have to pay for this acquisition?
Again, 5 million shares of Brazil Resources. Today, with the stock having pulled back along with the rest of the gold stocks, it's around $11 million Canadian. Obviously, 30% less than US dollars, and less than 5% dilution. So we also did issue 1 million warrants, Jay, but the strike price on those 1 million warrants in Canadian dollars is about $3.50. Oh. And of course, that's still over $1 away from where the current shares are trading at. And I mean, look, the what you just pointed out about the market cap of Sunward just 4 years ago speaks to really the extremes in our business, in the commodity business, how things can go from one extreme because of a stronger gold price back in 2011, 2012. And that wasn't even an extreme. I mean, that was an environment before we had this 4-year kind of bear market for resources. And how ridiculous things can get during the bear market. And now as we're coming back, there are fewer players around. There are less companies around with capitalization, with the ability to have the right market sponsorship to advance these projects. And I think a company like DRI that has really been acquiring assets for 6 years, building track record, building credibility, the key is that. The key is, we built momentum and critical mass over 6 years. And now perhaps even better opportunities are coming our way. And this is a great example of that. And that's a lot of market cap from 2012 that we picked up today for 5 million shares. Again, gold price has to recover, and as it gets back towards the levels it was at in 2011, 2012, you can see all the value that we're building inside of BRI that will crystallize more market value as we continue to advance.
I have no doubt about that. You'll soon be acquiring this. The way it looks, almost certainly you will be acquiring this project. It's too early, I guess, to ask you about exploration plans on this project, but I certainly will be looking forward to that. Amir, how is your treasury stacked right now in terms of meeting all of your various exploration plans this year, including your new acquisition?
Yeah, so Jay, we're running right now in Canadian dollars at a burn rate of just over $3 million annually. Mm-hmm. So $3 million a year burn rate and Canadian. And we're sitting at on just about $9 million of cash Canadian. Uh-huh. And so we're well covered right now in terms of what our needs are. The company is really definitely, and for its needs over the next couple of years, is well capitalized. And really on this project, as we talked about, the goal would be to do the final closing of the acquisition by early September. And after that, get to work on reviewing this, again, very extensive drilling database and all the work that was done by Sunward between 2010 to 2014. So we've got 4 years of work to review and start releasing information from. And I really like this, Jay. I mean, this is quite a good position to be in, where you can leverage that much historic work to generate news flow and value for your shareholders, rather than taking on the exploration risk inherent in just going out and drilling. So still like this model as a way of creating value, and obviously we will have some news on other fronts as well, with what we're doing in Brazil and what we're doing in the U.S. And Jay, I got to say, we started life with Brazil Resources because geographically we were very much focused for our first 4 years of life in Brazil. And perhaps I'm thinking as the year goes on here, maybe we need to have almost like a rebranding and a brand that is maybe more reflective of this very diverse and extensive portfolio we now have, being in the U.S., Colombia, and Brazil. So I think that'll be exciting as well, as a way of being able to streamline the story and make sure we have a brand and name that really captures all the work we've done in building a very extensive pipeline of gold ounces in the ground from the U.S. down to Colombia and Brazil.
I can only say that with the big guys having trouble keeping up with their production, that is replacing the ounces they pull out of the ground every year, as you're building some projects with major multi-million ounce resources on them, Amir, I have to think that you're a name that a lot of the bigger guys are going to have their eyes on going forward. It's really going to be exciting. I would just like to ask you, what do you think investors should be looking forward to? For what sort of drivers might, I mean, your share price is up about triple or so from the beginning of the year, but what sort of drivers might investors be looking forward to now, in addition to this new project? What else might you have that they should be keeping an eye on, news releases?
Well, Jerry, I mean, as we've seen since the beginning of the year, it took a 30% move in the price of gold to see the equities rise 200 to 400% across the board. So It's been an incredible year for gold equities, and BRI is no exception. But this month, August and early September, we've seen things are going to be consolidating a bit. Obviously, summer doldrums and a very healthy kind of consolidation. We're going to be very busy in the fourth quarter of this year. Obviously, we have this acquisition with TT Ribi to complete, and to also have more news come out on that. We'll have more acquisitions that we'll look to potentially announce. And I think I got to come back on this radio show with you, hopefully maybe in a month's time, and we'll talk about all these new things and developments.
Well, it's very exciting, Amir. I can't wait to keep up with you and to hear what you have to tell us the next time. So I want to thank you very much for being with us, and we'll look to do it again in a month or so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.